After careful consideration, Mr. McKittrick, I've come to the conclusion that your system sucks. Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. My name is Scruffy, and this is Need to Know Info. It's where we break down the copiwiki into small, bite-sized chunks, deep fry them, and serve them to our first 100 customers. I've heard a lot of people lately talking about upgrading their PCs, wondering whether their current system will or won't be able to run Cornucopias. So in today's Need to Know Info, we're going to take a look at PC requirements for Cornucopias. Now, before we get to that, make sure you stay till the end of the video because we're going to have an extremely valuable PSA in case you are looking at building, buying, or upgrading your current PC. But first things first, let's find out how you can check the current specifications of your computer so you know what you're working with right off the bat. Now, there's multiple ways to do this. I'm going to show you the quick and easy way that you should be able to do on most systems without downloading any extra software. However, I'm going to show you another way that's going to be a lot more in-depth and informative for you. So just go down to your search bar, whether you're on Windows 11, Windows 10, Windows 7, and you're going to type in settings. Now, once you open the settings window, you should be looking at the About page. If you look on this page, it shows your processor, which version you have, how fast it's running, as well as the model number. It also shows the installed amount of RAM and the current operating system that you are using. However, an even better way to check your current hardware is to go download a tool called Specky. You can get to it by going to cccleaner.com/Specky. We'll go ahead and leave a link in the description down below so you can get straight to it. And it is a free application. So you're going to download the free version. And once again, free version. I don't know why they make you click 3 times, but they do. Trust me, it's worth it. So once it's done downloading, go ahead and click on it to install. We launch the program to find all of the beautiful things that it will show us. Namely, everything that we're going to be addressing in this video. Now, it takes it a minute to analyze your system, and then it will come up with this nice little window here. And as you can see, it's showing Intel processor, Windows 11 Pro, 32 gigabytes of RAM. There's the motherboard. There's the graphics cards. There's the storage devices and any kind of optical drives that you might have, as well as audio. Now, you can go into each one of these to find a little more detailed view if you're just curious or want to know. So like here, it said Intel processor, but we didn't know what version, what gen, or what model. Right here, you can see it's a 12th gen Intel Core i7-12700K. Again, not sure if you want to get that in depth, but you'll see why we're doing that here in just a little bit. You can also go down and see your RAM. You can even see your motherboard, which isn't necessarily important for this video, but your graphics card, definitely very, very important. So just a handy little tool. Go check out Specky. It gives you a lot more detailed information, which you're probably going to want once we take a look at the wiki. So let's head on over to the copiwiki, and we will notice the PC desktop page, which has the PC requirements on it. Now, it's kind of difficult to find. So again, I'm going to leave a link directly to this page in the description below. You can also utilize the search feature if you don't have the link handy. Cornucopia is going to be available on desktop PCs and will require an internet connection to play. Of course, if you don't have an internet connection, then it's impossible for you to be watching this video. So I'm going to assume you've got both of those. When considering game PC performance, there's 4 things you want to consider. Number 1 is budget. Number 2 is monitor resolution. Number 3 is frames per second. Number 4 is game settings. Now, budget is going to be kind of set. You're going to know what that is. I always tell people, spend as much as you feel comfortable with when buying or upgrading your current system. The reason I say this is nobody in the history of humankind has ever said, my computer is just too darn fast. However, you do need to make sure that you're comfortable with the price. So pick a maximum number you're willing to spend and work within that budget. Number 2, monitor resolution. There's 4 main monitor resolutions out there. There's 720p, 1080p, 1440p or 2K, and 4K. Most people's monitors are going to fit somewhere in here. They do have 5K and even 8K monitors. And when it comes to widescreens, there's some very unusual ones out there. But these are going to be the 4 main types you're going to see. Next, we get to frames per second. And you've got 30, 60, and 120 frames per second are the most common monitor settings. Again, this is how many images are flashed in a single second. So the more pictures you have per second, the smoother the graphics look. Then we've got game settings. Most games have 4, 5, sometimes even 6 different levels that you can set your graphic settings to. Cornucopias is going to have minimum, recommended, high, best, and ultra. It's also important to note, as you can see on the wiki here, the following specs are subject to change as more information is gathered about UE5 through testing. It may also be possible to use older systems. So let's break that down. First of all, the information could change on here. I don't expect it to change a whole lot. They've been testing with UE5 for a while now, and there are known specifications for UE5. That being said, always good to keep in mind that they could change later on. It also says it may be possible to use on older systems. More on that in a minute. If we scroll on down the page, we come to the first Cornucopias PC requirements. Basically, this is the minimum level that they're willing to say will run the game. And as you can see, 720p, 30 frames per second. They're recommending an NVIDIA GTX 960 or AMD R9 290X. They're also recommending an Intel i5 2500K or AMD Ryzen 3 1200. 8 gigabytes of DDR RAM. I expect they meant to put DDR4 on there. And for the operating system, a minimum of Windows 10 or higher. Also, they recommend a 100 gigabyte hard drive. Now, I understand a lot of this may be on the technical side. Don't worry about it if it is. At the end, we're going to have a nice, easy breakdown to help you out. Moving on, we go to the recommended system requirements. This is if you're wanting to game at 1080p, 30 frames per second. On this one, they recommend an NVIDIA GTX 1060 or AMD RX 570, an Intel i5 6600K, or an AMD Ryzen 5 2400G. Again, 8 gigabytes of DDR RAM, Windows 10, and this time they move it up to a 100 gigabyte SSD or solid state drive. And just a side note, if you don't already have one, I highly recommend a solid state drive. Not only will it help in gaming and general performance, but it'll also speed up your boot times quite a bit. Moving on to the high system requirements. This hardware should be good for 1080p gaming at 60 frames per second. Here they recommend the NVIDIA GTX 1070 or AMD RX 5600 XT or better. For CPU, the Intel i7 4700K or AMD Ryzen 7 2700. Again, 8 gigabytes of RAM, Windows 10, and a 100 gigabyte solid state drive. Now, if you're looking to kick it up a notch and would like to do 1440p gaming at 60 frames per second, also known as 2K, that's going to require the NVIDIA RTX 2070 or AMD RX 5700 XT. Also an Intel i7 7700K or AMD Ryzen 7 3700X. They recommend bumping the RAM up to 16 gigabytes and stand pat on the Windows 10 and 100 gigabyte solid state drive. If you want the absolute best, top of the line gaming experience at 4K resolution, 60 frames per second, that's going to require the NVIDIA RTX 3080 or AMD RX 6800 XT. They're also going to recommend the Intel i9 9900K or AMD Ryzen 9 3950X. Again, 16 gigabytes of RAM, Windows 10, and the 100 gigabyte solid state drive. If your system isn't up to any of these specifications, there's still good news. And that is that it should be possible to run Cornucopias on other PC specifications other than the ones that we've already gone over. However, they've done limited testing on older PCs due to the demand for graphics and multiplayer. But they are predicting that even on older machines, you can possibly do 720p 30 frames per second gaming with the NVIDIA GTX 960 or AMD R9 290X. The Intel i3 2500K or AMD Phenom 2, 4 gigabytes of RAM, Windows 7, and a 100 gigabyte hard drive. I would not recommend trying it on this unless you absolutely have to. Your experience may be limited. So you're saying to yourself, I don't speak computer. What does this all mean for me? Well, to answer the question, will your computer run Cornucopias? The short answer is, if it was built in the last 10 years, most likely yes. However, user experience, as stated before, will vary greatly. And now for the very important PSA. If you're thinking about building, buying a new system, or upgrading your current system, don't. Well, don't right now. Let me put it that way. Coming out in the fall, we're going to have brand new processors from both Intel and AMD, and we're going to have new video cards from NVIDIA and AMD. So whether you're looking to get the latest and greatest, or just save money on the current models that are already out, waiting till at least the fall is going to give you a lot more bang for your buck. Now, if you're saying to yourself, look, Scruffy, I want to upgrade my current PC, or I'd really like to build my own PC, but I don't know where to start. Well, we've got another video for that coming up where I'm going to go step by step and show you exactly how to select the parts and the process that I go through when I'm building a computer for myself or a client. If you'd like to be notified when the video comes out, make sure and subscribe and click on notifications. While you're at it, go ahead and like the video, especially if you found anything informative or interesting in here. Also, drop a comment down below and let me know what your current PC situation is. Are you toiling away on an old 386 or Pentium processor with the floppy drives? Or did you get the latest Mega Beast and you're just waiting for them to release Cornucopias so you can shred it up like a fine order of Waffle House hash browns? That does it for this video. Thanks for watching, and don't forget,